Hello YouTube, Mewtwo here again with another reproduction update. Last time I left off I had shown you my Sonic Triple Trouble reproduction and the preview work that I had done on Superboy 4 so far. And since then I've been eagerly working away on finishing up my Superboy 4 reproduction, and it is now complete. Well, as complete as it's going to be. And as you can see, there are not a hell of a lot of changes. Kept it fairly much in line with what I had done for the preview. There was a few little bits that I changed, such as I don't know if you can see here, the fonts on the logo has changed. And the reason for this was that I wanted it to be more in line with the Korean font up here. So I tried out several different fonts, and I was hoping that something might, I suppose, stand out, but none of them really did, so I just went with one that, kind of seemed appropriate to me. Other than that, there's some mild colouring differences. The full version, or the final product, has got much more colour depth. It's not entirely been picked up on camera, but if you say look at the greens, there's the colour is much more consistent, whereas if you look over here you can see colour banding, and if you look at the castle, you can see that the coloration is slightly different, or same on Superboy himself. The purple in his hat isn't as clear on the preview. Some of that is just slight tweaks to the colours, but part of it is actually just when I printed out on the better kind of stock of paper, it maintains the colour better, so you get a representation closer to what I had on computer. I also changed the grids ever so slightly. It's not noticeable, but up here in this section of the grid there was actually some mistakes in the preview. They're so minor that you could barely see it looking at it, and certainly on camera they don't show up. And I also changed the template, which actually required a fair bit of work. So even though it looks almost identical, there was actually quite a lot of work in doing the gridded template again. And the reason for this is because on Sonic Triple Trouble, well, it came out fine, and it probably won't be picked up in camera. No, I can't really get the text to show that clear on camera, but basically personally I feel that there's a little pixelation on the text, and that's down to the resolution that the image is printed at, which is not the same as the screen resolution. So I increased the DPI, and that kind of solved that issue for Superboy 4, and hopefully for all games moving forward, because I can reuse the same gridded template. So I didn't really do too much to the back or to the sides. Now, as I said in the last video, I decided no manual moving forward because it just takes way too much time and effort. But there's the cartridge, and I see the sun is going to just annoy me again, because I've already done this video once, but the sun just made everything nearly unviewable. So if you just excuse me for a moment, I'm going to try and redress that problem. Okay, so hopefully this will show up a little bit clearer. Well, the label itself is basically based on the logo of the box, just shrunk down. As I said in my first reproduction video, it's very hard to make a good label. At least I find it very hard, because getting decent labels, paper that's affordable, that fits a Master System cartridge, and that retains color is next to impossible. The closest I've got is what I'm using, and it's okay. It's a little small for my liking, but also the color is not as I intended to be. It doesn't maintain the redness of the original image, but it'll do. Certainly it's nearly more colorful than the original Sega logos or cartridges, so I'll just put that away and move on. So since then I've been working on another reproduction. Just pull it away there. and it's Sonic Edusoft, or as I've called it, Sonic the Hedgehog Edusoft. And the reason why I started working on this one was because a forum member on the Sega 8-bit community posted up and asked, would anyone be able to help him out with a Sonic Edusoft reproduction? Now, for those of you who remember the first video, I have a little catalogue. If I can get it open. And in the catalogue, I had up there in the corner Sonic Edusoft in the family games section. And the camera is not focusing, but trust me, it's there. And I had intended to do it myself anyway. So I said to him, okay, it's not the game that I was planning to work on next. That was something else from this list. But I can bump it up. You know, it was something I was planning to do fairly soon, so you know I can do it next. But it could be a while. It could be maybe a month or so before I get kind of near completion. And he says, you know, that'd be great. So I said, okay, I'll get to work on it. And this is my preview of the next one. It was quite hard to come up with box art for Sonic Edusoft, more so than Superboy, because for Superboy there is an image existing for the Korean release, and this, believe it or not, this image is actually based on a NES game. It's a tweaked version of I can't remember the name of the NES game now, but that kind of artwork is based on existing properties. Whereas, of course, for Sonic Edusoft, it was a prototype game. It was being developed by Tiertex, and it was unlicensed, and it wasn't a Sega in-house thing, but they were going to bring it to Sega in an attempt to kind of market it towards, I suppose, younger kind of Sonic fans, and branch out the Sonic line in the same way that Nintendo branched out the Mario line with, you know, Mario's early learning years, those type of things. But as it was basically just a prototype, there is no existing stock artwork to use. I have seen a reproduction online, and it was fairly good, though there's a few things that I didn't particularly like about it. The biggest of which was the fact that it based the cover image on an old Master System box, which has, you know, no spine image. The grid has got the wide spacing, and instead of having kind of like the square area where the artwork is and then the logo usually at the bottom, it just had, you know, the old Sega font thing at the top and one picture. So think the Ninja or something like that, and you kind of have an idea of it. I can understand why you would want to do that for something like Sonic Edusoft, because how exactly do you come up with a compelling artwork for basically basic mathematics? You know, I even have it on the chalkboard on the picture, like 2 by 1 is 2, 2 by 2 is 4. When you have that on its own, it doesn't make for something that's going to leap off the shelf at you. So I actually had to sit down, put my thinking cap on for a while, and thought, how am I going to fill this cover with something compelling? And even looking at the game itself, you know, the title screen is Sonic standing in front of a blackboard, so I figured, well, that's about all you can really do. So I decided to go with a Sonic kind of as if he was the teacher in front of the blackboard, and he put up some problems. But being Sonic, you know, he had to add in the bit of the kind of attitude to it, so he's, you know, written his name that he rules, and the chalk drawings of Sonic, you know, jumping on the Motobug Badnik, which incidentally is the only baddie in the game, if, as you can see, possibly from the back image. But there's the Motobug is actually the only, you know, one of Robotnik's creatures in the game. So, and then I decided to overlay it against the Green Hill Zone, which is actually the setting for the game. You're kind of exploring Green Hill Zone and searching out these challenges. So it took quite a while to kind of blend the different layers together and have them feel that they had the, you know, they kind of sat well with each other. And to be honest, I'm even still now not 100% happy with it by any means, but it's not exactly easy. It wasn't easy to do, to kind of I don't have particularly remarkable drawing skills, so it was a struggle to get something looking kind of chalkboard like and making it seem that it kind of fitted within the Sonic universe. I was a fair bit happier with the logo though. Again, I decided to go back and I looked at the logos that would have been used at the time. And at that point, it was around just after Sonic 1, Sonic 2, probably before Sonic 2 actually. And they were still using the original Sonic the Hedgehog logo with the leaning text. So I utilised a similar fonting, the kind of Sonic fonting with the chubby kind of text body to fill up the width, keeping the kind of Sonic logo and the kind of changing of colour tones. I felt that kind of, that kind of fitted in, I felt, with the Sonic logos that you see, maybe not exactly as they were, but if you look at, say, Sonic Chaos, it's a similar kind of colour palette to what Sega would use then. So in a way it kind of touches the old Sonic 1, but it still has the leading direction that Sega were going towards. The back of the box, just got some screenshots there. Move down, the logo at the top. The text for the back wasn't exactly easy to do. How do you write something compelling about basic maths? And especially given that most European games would have only had a tiny bit of text, whereas I tend to do the whole back in English. So it took quite a while to come up with something that was anyway interesting, I felt. And I'll just read a bit of it, but it says, Sonic the Hedgehog is back with his hardest mission to date, making learning fun. Journey through Green Hill Zone in search of over 15 mind-bending stages containing taxing maths equations and word searches. Sonic doesn't have to do it all on his feet though, as he has a new helicopter and a hot air balloon at his disposal to search out the challenges. So, that was just the intro paragraph, but it kind of describes the game. To be fair, you do actually do those things in it, so it's not a lie. It probably reads better than, do you enjoy maths? Do you enjoy basic multiplication? Then try Sonic Edgesoft. But anyway, I'm pretty pleased with how it turned off. I must be losing my mind. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. Took a fair bit of work, but I think it's just about there now. Certainly, if there's any comments or suggestions, I'd be eager to hear it. And it's one thing to look at these things when you're doing them on your own and you think, oh yeah, that kind of suits or that works. I mean, even with, as I said, with Sonic Triple Trouble, there was pre-existing art. With Superboy 4, again, pre-existing art. So you have something to go on. Whereas with Sonic Edgesoft, it was very much from scratch. But anyway, and I've actually already started working on another project, another reproduction project, the one that I was going to do before Gordman mentioned about doing a Sonic Edgesoft one. So I hopefully shouldn't be too long before I have another reproduction update, and I've finished, and in that I'll have hopefully finished off this Sonic Edgesoft one and started on, or got a preview for my next one. Until next time.